It was supposed to be a routine court appearance, but instead, it turned out to be the day my lawyer, Dominic, would betray me in the worst possible way. My name is Oscar, and I'm 35 years old. I've worked hard my entire life, building a successful business from the ground up. But when a rival company started stealing my ideas and sabotaging my operations, I had no choice but to take them to court. I hired Dominic, a lawyer with a stellar reputation, to represent me. I thought I had made the right choice. At first, everything seemed fine. Dominic was charming, confident, and knowledgeable about the law. He assured me that we had a strong case and that we would win. I trusted him completely, and why wouldn't I? He was my lawyer, my advocate, my confidant. But as the case progressed, I started to notice that things weren't going according to plan. Dominic would miss deadlines, forget important details, and seem distracted during our meetings. I brushed it off as mere oversight, thinking that he was just busy with other cases. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. The day of the court appearance arrived, and I was nervous but optimistic. I had prepared myself for the worst, but I was confident that Dominic would do his job. But when the judge delivered the verdict, my world came crashing down. We had lost the case, and it was all because of Dominic's incompetence. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. All my hard work, all my savings, everything I'd built over the years was gone. And it was all because of Dominic's betrayal. I couldn't believe that he had let me down so badly. As I left the courtroom, I couldn't help but wonder how this had happened. Had Dominic been working against me all along? Had he been playing me from the very beginning? The more I thought about it, the more I realized that I had been blinded by my trust in him. I started to investigate Dominic's actions, digging deeper into his past cases and looking for any patterns of behavior that might explain what had happened. And what I found shocked me. Dominic had a history of losing cases due to negligence, and there were even rumors of him working against his clients' interests. I couldn't believe that I had been so blind. I had trusted Dominic with my future, and he had thrown it away like it meant nothing to him. I felt angry, betrayed, and helpless. But as I looked back on the experience, I realized that it was a turning point in my life. I had been given a second chance, and I was determined to make the most of it. But for now, I just wanted answers. I wanted to know why Dominic had betrayed me, and I wanted to make sure that he would never hurt anyone else again. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the long and difficult road ahead. I was ready to fight for justice. No matter what it took, I sat in Dominic's office, staring at him in disbelief. The verdict had just come in, and we had lost the case. I had been counting on him to win, but instead he had failed me. "What happened?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. "You said we had a strong case. You said we would win." Dominic shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "I'm sorry, Oscar. I did everything I could, but the judge just didn't see it our way." I felt a surge of anger. "That's not good enough," I said. "You were supposed to be the best. You were supposed to win this case." Dominic sighed. "Look, Oscar, sometimes these things just don't go our way. It's not always about being the best or having the strongest case. Sometimes it's just about luck." I stood up, my eyes locked on Dominic. "Luck," I repeated. "You call this luck? I call it incompetence. I call it betrayal." Dominic's expression changed, and for a moment, I thought I saw a glimmer of guilt in his eyes. But then, his mask slipped back into place, and he was once again the confident, arrogant lawyer I had hired. "I'm sorry you feel that way, Oscar," he said, "but I assure you, I did everything I could to win this case." I laughed, a cold, hard sound. "Really?" I said. "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you did everything you could to lose. You're supposed to be my lawyer, my advocate. But it seems to me that you're just in it for the money." Dominic's face reddened, and for a moment I thought he might lose his temper. But then he regained control and his expression smoothed out. "I understand that you're upset, Oscar," he said, "but let's not make any rash decisions. Let's talk about this and see if we can't find a way to move forward." I shook my head. "There's nothing to talk about, Dominic. You've made it clear that you're not interested in winning my case. I'm going to find out what really happened, and I'm going to make sure that you're held accountable for your actions." Dominic's smile faltered, and for a moment I saw a glimmer of fear in his eyes. But then he regained his composure, and he smiled again. "Do what you want, Oscar," he said, "but you're not going to find anything. I did everything by the book." I turned and walked out of his office, determined to uncover the truth. As I walked out the door, I felt a sense of determination. I was going to get to the bottom of this no matter what it took. I started by reviewing the case files, looking for any signs of negligence or incompetence, and what I found shocked me. Dominic had missed deadlines, failed to file important documents, and hadn't prepared adequately for the case. I felt a surge of anger and betrayal. How could he have been so careless with my case? I thought about all the times I had trusted him, all the times I had believed in him. And now I realized that it had all been a lie. I knew I had to take action. I couldn't just sit back and let Dominic get away with this. I started to investigate further, talking to other clients and looking into Dominic's past cases. And what I found was shocking. Dominic had a history of losing cases, and there were even rumors of him working against his clients' interests. I couldn't believe that I had been so blind. I had trusted him with my future, and he had thrown it away like it meant nothing to him. I knew I had to confront him, to demand answers and accountability. I scheduled a meeting with him, my heart racing with anticipation. I was ready to take him on, to make him face the consequences of his actions. As I sat in the meeting room, waiting for Dominic to arrive, I felt a sense of calm determination. I was ready to fight for justice no matter what it took. And when Dominic walked in, I knew that this was going to be a battle like no other. I started digging deeper into Dominic's actions, determined to uncover the truth. I spent hours poring over the case files, looking for any signs of negligence or incompetence. And what I found was shocking. Dominic had missed deadlines, failed to file important documents, and hadn't prepared adequately for the case. I couldn't believe that he had been so careless with my future. I felt a growing sense of unease as I realized the extent of his mistakes. I decided to confront him about it, to demand answers and explanations. I scheduled a meeting with him, and he agreed to see me. As I sat in his office, I could feel the tension building. "Dominic, I need to ask you something," I said, my voice firm. "Did you do everything you could to win my case?" Dominic shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Of course I did," he said. "I worked hard on your case, Oscar. I did everything I could to win." I pulled out the documents I had found. "Then how do you explain this?" I asked, handing him the papers. "You missed deadlines, you didn't file important documents. It's like you didn't even care about the outcome." Dominic's face turned red, and he looked away. "Those were just minor mistakes," he said. "They didn't affect the outcome of the case." "Minor mistakes?" I repeated, my voice rising. "You call those minor mistakes? You're a lawyer, Dominic. You're supposed to know what you're doing, and you call those minor mistakes?" Dominic sighed and he rubbed his temples. "Look, Oscar, I'm sorry," he said. "I know I made mistakes, but I'm trying to tell you it wasn't intentional. I was overwhelmed with other cases and I just didn't have the time to devote to yours." I leaned forward, my eyes locked on his. "Overwhelmed?" I repeated. "You're a lawyer, Dominic. You're supposed to be able to handle multiple cases at once. That's your job." Dominic shrugged. I know, it was a mistake, but I'm trying to make it right. Let's talk about what we can do next." I stood up, my anger boiling over. "There's nothing to talk about, Dominic," I said. "You've made it clear that you're not capable of handling my case. I'm going to find a new lawyer, and I'm going to make sure that you're held accountable for your actions." Dominic's face fell, and he looked at me with a mixture of fear and desperation. "Oscar, please," he said. "Don't do this. I'll do whatever it takes to make it right." I turned and walked out of his office, determined to take action. I was going to find a new lawyer, and I was going to make sure that Dominic paid for what he had done. As I walked out the door, I felt a sense of resolve. I was going to fight for justice no matter what it took. I started making phone calls, looking for a new lawyer who could help me. I talked to several people, and finally I found one who seemed promising. Her name was Nadia, and she had a reputation for being tough and competent. I met with her and she listened to my story. She asked questions and took notes, and I could tell that she was interested in taking on my case. "I'll do everything I can to help you, Oscar," she said. "But I need to warn you, it's going to be a tough road ahead." I nodded, determination burning within me. "I'm ready for it," I said. "Let's do this." Nadia smiled, and we shook hands. I knew that I had made the right decision. With Nadia on my side, I felt a sense of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I could win this fight after all. I couldn't shake off the feeling of betrayal. Dominic's words kept echoing in my mind. "I'm sorry, Oscar. I did everything I could." Everything he could? That was a joke. He had thrown my case away like it meant nothing. I thought about all the times I had trusted him, all the times I had believed in him, and now it seemed like it had all been a lie. I felt like I was walking around in a daze, unable to process what had happened. I started to question my own judgment. How could I have been so blind? How could I have trusted him so completely? I thought about all the warning signs I had ignored, all the red flags I had dismissed. As I walked through the streets, I couldn't help but feel like I was living in a nightmare. Everything seemed surreal, like I was trapped in some kind of bad dream. I couldn't wake up no matter how hard I tried. I thought about my family, my friends. What would they think when they found out about Dominic's betrayal? Would they believe me? Would they think I was crazy? The more I thought about it, the more I felt like I was losing my grip on reality. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. All I could do was think about Dominic and his betrayal. One day, I received a call from an unknown number. It was a woman, claiming to be a former client of Dominic's. She told me that she had been through a similar experience and that she wanted to meet with me. I was skeptical at first, but something about her voice seemed genuine. I agreed to meet with her, curious about what she had to say. When we met, she told me about her own experience with Dominic, how he had promised her the world and then delivered nothing but disappointment and heartache. She showed me documents, evidence of Dominic's negligence and incompetence. As I listened to her story, I felt a sense of validation. I wasn't alone. There were others out there who had been through the same thing, and maybe, just maybe, we could do something about it. The woman's name was Sarah, and she had been through a nightmare with Dominic. She had trusted him just like I had, and he had let her down. But she wasn't going to let him get away with it. She was determined to expose him, to make sure that no one else went through what she had gone through. As I listened to her story, I felt a sense of determination rising up inside me. I was going to take Dominic down, no matter what it took. I was going to make sure that he paid for what he had done to me and to Sarah, and to all the others who had trusted him. I stood outside Dominic's office, my heart racing with anticipation. I had been waiting for this moment for what felt like an eternity. I took a deep breath, pushed open the door, and walked in. Dominic looked up from his desk, a mixture of surprise and concern on his face. "Oscar, what's going on?" he asked. "I know what you did," I said, my voice firm. "I know you sabotaged my case." Dominic's expression changed and he leaned back in his chair. "That's not true," he said. "I did everything I could to win your case." I laughed. "Don't lie to me," I said. "I have proof. I know you missed deadlines, failed to file important documents. You didn't even try to win my case." Dominic's face turned red, and he stood up. "That's not fair," he said. "You're just upset because you lost the case." "I'm upset because you betrayed me," I said. "You were supposed to be my lawyer, my advocate, but you threw my case away like it meant nothing." Dominic took a step forward, his eyes flashing with anger. "You have no idea what you're talking about," he said. "You don't know the first thing about law." "I don't need to know about law," I said. "I know you lied to me and you sabotaged my case, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows about it." Dominic's face twisted in anger, and he pointed a finger at me. "You'll never prove it," he said. "You'll never be able to show that I did anything wrong." I smiled, a cold, hard smile. "Oh, I think I will," I said. "I have evidence and I have witnesses. You're going to pay for what you did to me." Dominic's face fell, and for a moment I saw fear in his eyes. But then his mask slipped back into place and he smiled. "We'll see about that," he said. I turned and walked out of his office, determined to take him down. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I was ready for the fight. I was going to make Dominic pay for what he had done to me. As I walked out of the building, I felt a sense of determination. I was going to expose Dominic for the liar he was. I was going to make sure that no one else went through what I had gone through. And I was going to start by telling my story to anyone who would listen. I pulled out my phone and started dialing numbers. I was going to make sure that everyone knew about Dominic's betrayal, and I was going to start with the people who mattered most. I sat in my office reflecting on the experience with Dominic. It had been a tough road, but I had come out stronger on the other side. I thought about the lessons I had learned, the mistakes I had made, and the things I would do differently if I had the chance. One thing was clear: I would never blindly trust someone again. I had trusted Dominic completely, and he had let me down, but I had also learned that trust had to be earned, and that I had to be vigilant. I thought about the people I had met along the way, the ones who had supported me and helped me through the tough times. There was Nadia, my new lawyer, who had taken on Dominic with gusto. There was Sarah, the former client who had shared her own story of betrayal. I realized that I wasn't alone, that there were others out there who had gone through similar experiences, and I was grateful for their support, their guidance, and their friendship. As I looked back on the experience, I knew that it had changed me. I was more cautious now, more careful about who I trusted, but I was also more confident, more determined to stand up for myself and fight for what was right. I thought about the future, about the challenges that lay ahead. I knew that there would be more battles to fight, more obstacles to overcome, but I was ready. I had learned from my mistakes, and I was prepared to face whatever came next. I stood up, walked over to the window, and looked out at the city. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the buildings. I felt a sense of peace, a sense of closure. I had survived the experience, and I had come out stronger. I knew that I would always carry the scars of what had happened, but I also knew that I would never let it define me. I was more than the sum of my mistakes, more than the betrayal I had suffered. I was a survivor, and I was ready to move forward. I took a deep breath, turned away from the window and walked back to my desk. There was work to be done, battles to be fought, and I was ready. I was ready to face whatever came next, armed with the lessons I had learned and the strength I had gained. I sat down at my desk, opened my laptop and started typing. I was writing a new chapter in my life, one of resilience and determination, and I was excited to see what the future held. If you're watching this video, chances are you're either going through a similar experience or know someone who is. Let me tell you, it's crucial to be vigilant when dealing with legal professionals. They're supposed to be on your side, but sometimes they can be the ones working against you. I've learned a thing or two about the warning signs. First, pay attention to communication. If your lawyer is evasive or dismissive, that's a red flag. They should be transparent about your case, keeping you informed every step of the way. Second, look at their track record. Check their past cases, read reviews, and ask for referrals. A good lawyer will have a history of success and satisfied clients. Third, trust your instincts. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Your gut is often trying to tell you something. If you're feeling uneasy or uncertain about your lawyer, it's worth investigating further. And finally, don't be afraid to speak up. If you suspect your lawyer is not acting in your best interest, report them. You have the right to expect professionalism and dedication from your legal team. To all my audience out there, I want to leave you with a message of hope and caution. Don't let one bad experience deter you from seeking justice. Keep pushing forward, keep fighting for what's right. If you're currently dealing with a legal issue, stay strong. Research, ask questions, and never give up. Your case is important, and you deserve to have someone fighting for you. And to all the lawyers out there, let this be a reminder that your clients trust you with their lives. Don't betray that trust. Be honest, be transparent, and always act in the best interest of your clients. That's all for today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. And if you know someone who might benefit from this video, please share it with them. Thanks for watching.